UCCS softball in action. These guys wouldn't know, though, because I haven't seen them in the last 2 weekends at your UCCS softball games. I introduced them as the voice of your Mountain Lions. I was the voice of your Mountain Lions. I was the only one commenting this weekend on the action. So I saw everything, but what was your take? Let's talk about the games. Because there were some really good games.
Yeah.
Going back, not just this last weekend, but the weekend prior to that, we had a triple header with Black Hills State due to weather conditions. The 4-game series got altered into 1 triple header. And then this past weekend, we had a pod series where we hosted Colorado Christian and Western New Mexico. So were you watching?
Yeah,
do you know what happened?
I watched it, saw the wins. I think that the team, where do I start? It's going up in the sense that I think they're getting consistency, but then they have these tail offs, and one of them was game 1 of the last 4 pod series.
Against Colorado Christian. That's a game they should have won. I think if you ask them, they know they want that one back.
And so maybe it was just because they were like, oh, you know what, those broadcasters aren't doing our games. No, I'm just kidding.
See, so it's your fault that the men's golf
fault.
Team won, and it's your fault that the women's softball team lost.
Like we should coin the phrase blame on the broadcasters. But no, in all seriousness, I think that they're getting to the point where they know how good they are, but they got to show up and do what they're capable of doing.
Every game.
Yeah. And they obviously split the series between the pod series between CCU, Western New Mexico, but they got to be consistent. I don't want to, we'll go with that in a second, but that's my take on that. I mean, yes, they got the wins, but it didn't carry over until that last weekend.
And, with that first one, the Colorado Christian game, 14-10, they came out, I think.
That was a close game.
It was
back and forth.
I think, but they had the lead.
We had the lead.
Did you see the sixth inning?
I think, that's what it was.
8 runs in the sixth inning.
That was the game.
You're going to lose any games if you do that.
You give up 8 runs in an inning?
So,
because we were talking at one point about possibly ruling the Cougars, and then they mounted a comeback, flipped the script, took the win.
But, that's the thing is the Mountain Lions, they had that lead early. And, in softball, it's so hard to carry that lead through, 7 innings or 5 innings or whatever, That's what the hardest part was, is keeping that momentum going. They started out so strong in that game. 10 runs is, is a lot. But, that's the thing is they just kind of tailed off at the end. And, it's just going to be one of those games that they're going to look back and, they're hungry for that one, And, Colorado Christian beat Colorado Mesa, the only loss that Colorado Mesa actually has.
Which is so shocking, right?
Yeah, honestly, because, Colorado Christian, what are they right now? They're
not good.
10th. And
they're not
10th
good,
in the standings.
They're
But,
not good.
They're too hot.
They
They're
gave
on the outside
Colorado
looking
Mesa
in.
that one win. And, it's just, with RMAC, it's so confusing because, Colorado, CSU Pueblo, right now, they're 13th. But we split the series on the road with them, It's just, in the RMAC, you really don't know what to expect. And that's the thing is the Mountain Lions just have to come out thinking they're playing that top team every game. And, they have a couple tough weekends ahead. MSU, Denver, Chadron State, both ahead. And, those are the last 2 weekends for them. So they have a lot to prove. And, I still think they're hungry. Danny Fonseca is still.
Just the consistency.
Yeah, Coach hasn't fed them since the weekend. She's like, we need to keep you hungry for the weekend, so you're not eating this week. But like you mentioned, you just never know what's going to happen. Coming into this past weekend, on paper, we would have said that the Mountain Lions would easily beat Colorado Christian and maybe Western New Mexico would take their game against us. Yeah. It was a complete opposite. Mountain Lions faltered in the first game against Colorado Christian, bounced back, though, against the team that's closer to us in the standings. So if we were going to choose which game to win or to lose, it really worked out in our benefit that we beat the team who we were so close to in the standings. A 6-3 victory in game number 2 that day. A solid outing for your Mountain Lions there.
And
Melissa Martinick show.
Just like, a little food for thought,
She's great.
Always carrying.
Do you think the weather played a factor, honestly?
For both teams, I think
you
it
think
did.
so?
I think
I
think it equally did for both teams.
Okay. Yeah, it's not like a factor, but I think it's just like the usual days of playing.
But going out in the cold, and our freshmen Haley Smith, Melissa Marnick, both Denver, but
I don't think more of the weather. I think it's more of a just routine thing, and it kind of threw them.
I think they were ready for spring break.
Yeah.
They were on Charlie's mindset. I'm out of state.
The Cali mindset.
The next day, the complete opposite happened. Lost to Western New Mexico and beat Colorado Christian. So interesting dynamic there. Flip the script. So split in the series. That's after beating Black Hills State the last weekend 3-0 in the series. So that was huge. We can't overlook a 3-0 victory in the series. Took all 3 games in the triple header, which is not easy to do. To keep your mind focused and to keep your head in the game for 3 consecutive games after getting rescheduled because of a snowstorm the day before. It came back, and that really helped.
That's
so
tough.
when you look at the standings, that really helped propel us into a higher standings, currently in 4th place in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference.
And that's one thing I don't want to get too much into Sauce's spin, but we got Adams State, obviously a good competitor, but then you got Regis, and they're right on our tails, man.
Yeah, they're looking right up at us.
And so it's like, you know, you gotta. I think it's. Say what you want. It's good that we obviously won literally the last game of the series.
In dramatic fashion, I might add.
Exactly. And so Haley Smith, obviously the freshman, coming into her own, and she's doing a heck of a job.
RMAC Pitcher of the Week.
Exactly. And
Again.
so in 5th in the RMAC ERA.
As a freshman.
As a freshman. And so I love what she's doing out there. If she can just get her team to just buy in. I think if everyone buys in, they'll be fine.
It's just so difficult, too, because you got a young player. You're putting a lot of pressure on her.
And she's handling it well.
And she's doing great. Same with Martinek, right? Having a great season, but as a freshman, really carrying a large load of that offense.
You know, that's tough one. You know, we always talk about that freshman wall. And, you know, it's freshman year. You know, high school seasons aren't as long as, you know, the college year. So it really takes adjustment to that. You know,
They're both 4 years.
Right on that. But, you know,
he's good.
It's that freshman wall, and, you know, the season is coming fast. You know, this one, softball just goes so quick. And, you know, it's so much fun to watch, though. And the thing is, we've been playing excellent this year. From last year to this year has been so much fun. And, you know, I think a little bit. Do you think Martinek and Smith might hit that wall a little bit and, you know, going on the road?
They're going to break right through it, Charlie.
Exactly.
That's what I think.
No, here's the thing.
really hope so.
I think that if there was a wall, obviously Melissa Martinek being one of them, Haley Smith's doing a great job. But Martinek has broken through it because, did you know she's been walked 15 times this season?
Pitchers know her.
And she's up there in the RMAC for being walked. So I think she's handled it great. Her batting average is still great. So I think she's doing a great job. This team under head coach Ricky Rothbard, I think they're doing a great job. I like them in the long stand. Obviously, they got to start peaking here, and it's tough to say. But if that CC one didn't happen, and obviously not what ifs, but that win streak would have kept going, and they had 3 coming, and so it's just what if. But I like them going deep.
I got to give a shout out to our center fielder, Whitney Weber, with a bunch of Weber gems this past weekend. Some unbelievable plays in the outfield. She is so fast, so quick. You think she's not going to get there, and then all of a sudden she's under the ball, making the catch, throwing it to home, nearly getting a double play. That girl is on point with her fielding, with her speed, with her throwing power. She is a force in that outfield. I got to say, based off of what I saw this past weekend, not that the other Mountain Lions didn't have a great weekend, but she kept making play after play, and so I coined that term, some Weber gems.
And, you know, we always talk about the freshmen, but those sophomore too. You know, Kylie Bernard, excellent game against Colorado Christian. You know, on that 9-0, and, you know,
hit
Whitney
a bomb.
Weber, you know, we have a lot of starters that are still young. They're still learning. You know, Jordan Cusimano.
Didn't quite hit a bomb, but she had a couple of really solid base hits.
She did. McKenna Smith. You know, all of them. You know, they are starting to realize, you know, what is to come of them and what their role is, and, you know, they're doing excellent. So, you know, a little shout out to the sophomores.
And I do got to say too, coming from a few weeks ago where we had 5 errors in an inning, this past weekend was so much cleaner, and it really seems like they're really coming together in terms of defense on the field. A lot of really crisp, fundamental plays, out of the ordinary, not so fundamental plays being made this past weekend. So it was really exciting to see the defense coming together